This is 271 Baltimore Street in Gettysburg, and it is, we affectionately call it the ghost house because in 1997 we purchased it to run the Ghosts of Gettysburg Candlelight Walking Tours out of. Little did we know that in running ghost tours out of it, that we would run into some actual ghosts in this house. Of course, Gettysburg is well known for its ghost lore, starting from almost right after the battle. Ghost stories, ghosts have been seen. In fact, before the battle, ghosts have been seen or experienced here in Gettysburg. One other child we know for sure died here, William Henry Kitzmiller. He was in his early 20s when he died, and we think that maybe he is the one who appears here. One of my employees who was sensitive or psychic was behind the desk, and there was nobody in here, so she was just kind of letting her mind wander, and all of a sudden in the one doorway over there that leads to the upstairs, this small figure began to materialize, and he finally showed up as a little boy, and I asked her what did he look like, and she said, well, he had dirty blonde hair, he had a white shirt, and he had suspenders on his little pants. I said, okay, very, very interesting. And so that kind of was in the back of my head for years. And a few years ago, a friend of mine, Jeff Ritzman, asked if he could bring he was a paranormal investigator, he asked if he could bring his group in, his paranormal investigating buddies, and do an investigation here. And I said, sure, why not? I gave him the keys. I said, stay up all night if you want, go crazy. So couple days later, he called me back. He says, we did get some very interesting evidence. He said, we were setting up in the front room, and we started hearing things in the back. Kids playing, a ball bouncing, that type of thing. So we moved our stuff to the back, and of course, like kids, got set up there. The kids moved back up front here, and they started playing. He said, I figured I'd outsmart them, so I set my camera up in the middle room, and I was taking pictures. I took about 50 pictures in the back, and I got one that you'd be interested in, and he showed me that one photograph of virtually the same little boy that was seen, was described 10 years before. One of the things that we kept hearing from our mediums is that Mrs. Kitzmiller doesn't like it when we bring people in here and don't serve them tea and cookies. Obviously, a very polite Victorian lady would serve tea and cookies to her guests, and she was upset because we didn't. And so my wife Carol said, okay, we're going to bring out some cookies. And so one night when we had the people up here, she brought out some cookies, and unfortunately they had been in the cupboard for probably a couple of years, so they weren't real fresh, but we put them out anyhow as a prop. So I was doing some EVP, and I was asking, I figured I might as well ask Mrs. Kitzmiller if she's happy now that we have a cookie. So I did. And I got a very interesting response to that question, and which is, I asked, how do you like the cookies, Mrs. Kitzmiller? And I got the response, I hate them. So, and she's always been very, how to put this, feisty. I mean, this is her house. Some people call her Mrs. K. I call her Mrs. Kitzmiller. A lot of respect for the lady.
Mrs. Kitzmiller, I understand you didn't like our little tiny cookies the other night. You don't like those? Mrs. Kitzmiller, I understand you didn't like our little tiny cookies the other night. You don't like those?